Hi, Paul Zalazak here with Leather Wranglers, and in this video I want to talk about awls. What I'd like to do is show you a couple of existing designs, and then I want to show you our new Awl of Spades and explain to you why we made it the way we did and how it works. So, to start with, here's an awl that I made out of a pin vise that I got off of eBay. Typically these pin vices come double-ended, so what I did was I cut it in half and I mounted it to a handle that I made out of a piece of deer antler with buffalo horn and a red, white, and blue spacer. It's a good looking awl and it performs really well. The problem is that if you want to change the awl blade, you have to use a tool. To get the blade out, you have to loosen the locking nut with the tool, and then you want to pull the blade out. Oh, but no, it won't come out. Why? Because the collet underneath the locking nut in the shaft, when you pull out on it, it wedges back into that locking nut and squeezes, pinches down on the awl blade so it won't come out. So what you have to do to get the blade out is completely remove the locking nut, pull the collet out, then you can remove the blade very easily by pulling on the collet. To compound that, this particular pin vise comes with two collets that have two holes on each end. One side has a large hole, the other side has a smaller hole. So you have to choose the right hole size of 4 choices. You have to choose the right hole size for the tang on your awl blade. So for this particular awl blade, I need the largest hole. So that goes in to the shaft, and then we put the locking nut back on, insert the tang of the awl blade in there, and then again we need the wrench to tighten it down. The next design comes from an old Osborne pegging awl. This is a pegging awl haft, and again you need a wrench to loosen the locking nut. But what Osborne did here was they put the collet on the shaft, and then that gets inserted into the wooden handle so that it's captive. It doesn't come loose. So when you loosen the locking nut, and by the way, this one's made on a cone, so all you have to do is loosen it a couple turns and it comes completely off. So once you loosen the locking nut, you can pull the blade out, put a new blade in, and again tighten it back down, but again you need the wrench. The next design goes back to the early 1970s, mid 1970s, and this was the very first awl I got. This is an old Tandy version, and again what Tandy did was they made the collet just like the Osborne version, where the collet is attached to a shaft and then that's locked into the handle, so that when you tighten down on the locking nut, it wedges in on the tool, your awl blade or scribe, but you don't necessarily need a tool to lock it down. The problem with this design though is that it's made only to accept 1/8 inch tangs on your tool bits, your blades or whatever, so it only works well with the 5 tools that it came with. It doesn't hold replaceable blades like the Osbornes or the Blanchards very well. The reason being that they have a very small tang swaged into the end. Now the big difference between these two blades is that the Blanchard blades have a pointed swaged end and the Osborne blades have a rounded handle looking end. Now, the Blanchard blades are typically used when you're going to mount it into a fixed awl haft where you would drill a hole in the end of the ferrule here and then mount the blade into a vise and then align the handle on top of the pointed end of the tang and tap it into place with a hammer. And hopefully, when you did that and got it lined up right, it'll be indexed so that when you try to poke holes with it using your hand, they'll line up nicely for your stitching. So those are the existing varieties. Now what we did with ours was we made the collet onto a long shaft that goes all the way through the handle, and this is a two-piece handle, so that when you loosen the back side of the handle and push forward on it, it releases the collet, and then from there you can pull the blade out very easily, put a new blade back in, and tighten up on the collet. The other advantage to this is that our collet will hold all the different varieties of the Blanchard or Osborne blades that I've tested, from the largest to the smallest. In the Osborne line, the smallest is this number 42, and this is the number 46. I made 3 of these as beta testers. I made a real heavy duty one, then I kind of made a little medium one, and then I did a real lightweight skinny one. The little skinny shaft down here, part of the back end of the handle there, I made real skinny because I wanted to see just how much stress these could really take. So I figured if I made one real thin and then put a real thick awl blade that I made out of solid carbide, I put a very sharp point on it, but I made it blunt as well. You'll notice this doesn't have a long taper. I put this blade into this handle and I used it as a pegging awl so that I was pounding through 5 layers of leather. I would smash it with a 16-ounce maul and then pull it out, smash it on. Did it a couple thousand times. I got tired doing it, but I did it all for, you know, a day and a half playing with this thing. You'll notice that through all of that abuse, there was no damage whatsoever to it. So I figured then, if you guys want one that's nice and beefy like this one, then it should last decades. And by the way, these are made out of some really nice pear wood that Jim Hayes sent me. And this one is pear wood dyed black. This is the natural pear wood. And here's one pear wood dyed red. So thanks, Jim. I love it. It's great stuff. So if you have an idea for an awl that'll work really well for you, some sort of a design unique to you that will make your job easier and your end product that much better, give me a call. Let's talk about it. See if I can make something that'll work great for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.